After back-to-back tough road games, including one that took place in the middle of a snowstorm, the San Francisco 49ers got back on track against the Chicago Bears, thanks in part to an excellent performance by quarterback Brock Purdy. Welcome to Josh's Football Breakdowns, where we don't tell you what you're seeing, we let the film tell us what we're seeing. And what we saw on Sunday was creative play design and excellent execution by the players. Let's get right into it. I don't want to spend too much time on this first play. It's just a simple out route by Jauan Jennings, but take a look at the defense. The corner is in a back pedal and the safety is lined up to the inside. So Purdy knows that he has Jennings on this out route. It's just interesting to me. The play literally just started and Brock Purdy is already winding up to throw this football. A nice anticipation throw on the first play of the game. Two plays later, again, don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but there's a lot of things I like here. With all of the receivers covered, Purdy is going to dump this ball off to Isaac Guerendo. And I like the decision, frankly. You know, we've kind of gotten used to seeing Brock Purdy hold the ball, run around, and look for a big play down the field, which is great. But here he takes what the defense gives him, which makes sense because it's only 3rd down and 3. Again, I just like the decision. And with Isaac Guerendo, it answers a question: can he catch passes out of the backfield? The answer is an obvious yes. As we know, you have to do more than run the football to be a running back in the NFL. Next play, it's the tight end screen to George Kittle, and he goes for big yardage, and this was really a breath of fresh air. The screen game came alive against the Bears, something 49er fans have been wanting to see more of this season. Every year on this channel, it seems, we make fun of some team for trying to block Nick Bosa with a tight end. Well, here the 49ers are trying to block the Bears defensive end with George Kittle. Why would they do that? Well, one reason could be is if they're running away from it. You know, you don't need a super good blocker out on the outside if you're going to run away from the play. Don't get me wrong, George Kittle is an outstanding blocker, but you ordinarily wouldn't match him up against a defensive end like this. So the Bears take the bait. The fake helps to move the defense, after which Jalen Moore and Jake Brendel get downfield, and George Kittle lets his man win and then turns around for a pass with blockers out in front. And after pretending to receive the handoff, Isaac Guerendo tries to help in pass protection. The 49ers also made use of a lot of play action on the day, and here they would fake it again to Isaac Guerendo on the next play. Jauan Jennings would pretend to block and the defense would react, and Jennings would go out for a pass route. And by the way, not the easiest thing for a receiver to track that ball going from the sun to the shadow like that. In addition to the run fake, watch how the motion of Deebo Samuel helps to move the defense away from where the 49ers want to go with the football after the snap. So the 49ers take the lead, 7-0. Let's take a look at the first play of the game for the Bears. It's also the first play of the game for the 49er defense, and take a look at who is making his return to the field: Talanoa Hufanga. Hufanga is great against the run. He dropped down into the box and made the play. So the Bears punt back to the 49ers. And Shanahan, again, goes back to the run fake. And we see the linebackers reacting for the Bears. But importantly here, They also drop a safety down into the box to help stop the run. Jacob Cowing goes deep, taking his man with him, and Deebo Samuel would come across, and remember, there's no safety on that side of the field because he's down covering Isaac Guerrero. And I love this part of the play. Deebo could just keep running straight across here, but instead he runs towards the football, something every receiver should do. Really go attack that football, go get that football. There's been some questions lately about what exactly it is Deebo brings to the table as a receiver. Here's one of the little details you would love to see out of all your receivers. And by attacking this football, Deebo makes it an easier catch for himself. Now, I mentioned that Brock Purdy had an outstanding game, and he sure did. He had a perfect 158.3 quarterback rating in the first half, but there were a couple of passes here that didn't quite hit the mark, and it led to one of only 2 punts in the game for the 49ers, so let's take a look at these 2 passes real quick. I felt that this game was probably one of the most creative games for Kyle Shanahan since the Tampa Bay game, but here he goes back to a play we already looked at, the touchdown pass to Jauan Jennings. On that play, they put Deebo Samuel in motion. Here they put George Kittle in motion, but the goal is the same, to move the Bears defense. And just like before, the 49ers fake the run to one side, and then they have Jauan Jennings come out to the other side. But the Bears, for all of their flaws, are one of the better defenses in the NFL. They've been playing really good on defense, and they recognize the play in that short amount of a time. They've already adjusted to it. They're all over this. TJ Edwards stays with Jauan Jennings, and Darrell Taylor, instead of trying to stop the run, just attacks the quarterback directly this time. And the play is busted. Probably the best move here for Brock Purdy would be just to dirt this football. Throw this football at the feet of Jauan Jennings, and bring up third down. Instead, he tries to force this ball into Jauan. Now, I will say there is a lot of contact here, but the Bears are within that 5-yard period where the officials will let that go. Tipped and intercepted. No, Jauan Jennings brings that down. Jennings made that catch. Unbelievable catch for Jauan Jennings. And the 49ers, very fortunate that that pass was not intercepted. Third and 5 now, and Brock has Deebo open on this play, but take a close look. Deebo isn't even looking. He's running this crossing pattern with Jauan Jennings, so Brock holds the ball. Unclear why he doesn't go to Jennings. He tries to come back to Deebo late, and the pass rush gets home. Now, the Bears actually sent TJ Edwards late on this play, but once again, Isaac Guerrero identifies the late rusher and gets in a position to pass protect with mixed results. He did not do a good job of blocking here, but I think for a rookie, we have to say so far, I like what I'm seeing out of him. He runs the football well. He catches passes out of the backfield. He identifies where the blitz is coming from and then gets in position to pick it up. He's just got to shore up that technique a little bit. All right, so we've taken a look at really the only 2 inaccuracies, in my opinion, that we see from Brock Purdy. Like we said, Purdy had an outstanding game, so let's move ahead. We pick things up with the 49ers calling a deep shot. And to their credit, the Bears do leave 2 safeties back deep, but the 49ers attack one of them with 2 routes to Jacob Cowing and Ricky Pearsall, both going deep. The safety's really in a difficult position here. He has to think about how he's going to stay deeper than both of those routes. He has no energy whatsoever to think about stepping up on this underneath route to George Kittle. All right, what about the linebacker or any of these other underneath defenders here? Well, for one thing, they're all thinking about the fact that Isaac Guerendo could be coming into their zone at some point, but it's also just plain difficult to get enough depth on plays like this. You know, typically teams don't send their big tight end way down the field like this, and before you know it, George Kittle is already behind him and Brock Purdy's hitting him for a 32-yard gain. As the drive continues, we would see a significant development. Here we see Spencer Burford in for Ben Bartch, who unfortunately had to leave the game due to an injury, and Bartch had been playing really well. And anytime you have to switch up your offensive line, even just a little bit like this, it can really throw things off. Offensive line is all about chemistry. Coincidentally or not, the Bears send a blitz, and the 49er offensive line does not handle it well. Jalen Moore is in the difficult position of having to block two rushers. What do you do in this situation? The answer is always to pick up the inside man. You make that outside man the furthest possible man away from the quarterback, take the longest way around. Here, Jalen Moore does the wrong thing. He picks up the outside rusher, giving the inside man a clean shot at Brock Purdy. Now, let's talk about the play. We do see Isaac Guerendo heading a little bit like he's going to the outside, and Sanborn runs over there, and he's just a little bit flat-footed, and Brock Purdy sees this. Purdy also knows that he has a free rusher coming right at him. Somehow Purdy just senses everything that's going on the football field, and he lobs up this incredible pass to Isaac Guerendo. Oh, and you'd love to see Guerendo get this thing into the end zone. It would have been Brock Purdy's third touchdown pass of the day. And from this angle, we see Jalen Moore has been completely beaten, but Brock Purdy saves the play. The 49ers would punch it in with Guerendo from the 1-yard line, putting them up 14-7 over Chicago. Let's check back in with the Bears. On third down, Williams looks for the deep shot to Keenan Allen. It's not there, and he's a little bit late coming over to DJ Moore, and Leonard Floyd makes him pay. So on the last play we looked at for the 49ers, we saw the pass rush get through, and there was also a play where Brock Purdy was sacked that we didn't look at. So the pass rush for the Bears has to be feeling pretty good about themselves here. And Shanahan hits them with the perfectly timed call of the screen pass. And you know, the best teams in the NFL run a lot of screen passes. The interesting thing is the screen tends to work better earlier in the year. It does take defenses a minute to adjust to those screens. The best teams are the ones that are able to keep running them later in the year. Part of that is knowing when to call them. And like I said, the timing here by Kyle Shanahan was perfect right when the Bears were feeling themselves. And again, it's the tight end screen to George Kittle. 23-yard gain on the play. Later on in the drive, the Bears decide to send a blitz, 6 men. And if you're thinking that's a bit risky, it is. They turn loose probably the worst possible player, George Kittle. Sort of. What do I mean when I say sort of? Well, check out Darrell Taylor. He's only pretending to blitz. He's going to drop back into coverage. It's a nice idea, but it's one that the Bears simply don't have time to fulfill. I mean, look at Kittle. He's got a 5-yard head start here. This had no chance. And it's another 18-yard chunk for Kittle. Six targets, 6 catches, 151 receiving yards for George Kittle on the day. Inside the red zone, the 49ers send George Kittle out on a pass route again, and he garners just enough attention to draw Tremaine Edmonds away from the middle of the field. And check out Jauan Jennings. He makes a move to the outside. The defender has to respect that, and Jennings cuts back to the inside wide open. Touchdown 49ers, and they are pouring it on. Down 21-0, the Bears are facing a 3rd down and 5, and they have got to make something go here. They've got to get something going, or this game risks becoming a rout. No dice. Malik Collins brings Caleb Williams down for the sack. Let's go back to the snap. Nothing fancy here. Collins fakes a move to one side, and when the center reacts, just goes right around him. Alright, just try to put yourself in the position of one of these Bears defenders for a moment. You see George Kittle coming across before the snap, but at the snap he suddenly changes directions. Brock Purdy is also faking the handoff to the very dangerous Deebo Samuel, and these linebackers have no idea what to do here, and Isaac Guerendo is able to build up a head of steam. One more thing, watch Jauan Jennings just get in the middle and clog up the middle of the field for the Bears here. It's a 30-yard gain for Guerendo, and the 49ers are hitting on all cylinders. I mentioned earlier that this was one of Kyle Shanahan's more creative games. Well, before we take a look at this next play, let's go back and take a look at a play the Green Bay Packers ran in 1967. Here they are, this is in the Ice Bowl, and they're going to pull the left guard. But instead of following the left guard as a blocker, Chuck Mercine is just going to run the ball straight through the hole that the left guard just created by leaving that area. And it's an 11-yard gain and a 1st and goal for the Packers, and this was the play that set up the infamous Bart Starr sneak a few plays later to win the Ice Bowl. Okay, coming back to the 49er game, Kyle Shanahan calls a very similar play. We see Spencer Burford being pulled around, and instead of following Burford, Isaac Guerendo is going to run through the hole that was just created. Well, the Bears, on the last play we looked at, their linebackers hesitated a little bit because they weren't sure what they were seeing. Here they decide to really attack this play decisively. They don't hesitate. They go right after Guerendo. And that's unfortunate for the Bears because this isn't a running play. It's a pass to George Kittle. Kittle in open space, 25-20, 15-10, gets a block and just knocked out of bounds at the 5-yard line. What a play. So often we're used to seeing the 49ers fake the run to one side and then sneak a tight end out to the other side. Well, this time they do it from the front side. They do it a little less often, but they will call this play on occasion, and here they run it to great effect. Here Kyle would follow that up with another great play call, lining up George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Jauan Jennings to one side and faking the run in that direction. Naturally, Chicago sets up their defense on that side of the formation. And because San Francisco is ostensibly running to that side, they don't bother to block the defensive end on the opposite side, setting the Bears up for the quarterback keeper. Brock doesn't do a great job of getting north and south here. Looked like he was headed for the corner and then decides to cut upfield, so the defender reacts and Ricky Pearsall holds, and we see the flag come out. So the 49ers would settle for a Jake Moody field goal. Let's move ahead to the third quarter with the 49ers leading 24-6. And here's Jauan Jennings open on the deep shot. TJ Edwards is trying to stay with him, but Jauan Jennings against a linebacker is a mismatch, and Brock Purdy spots it. But he's going to have to get this thing from the far hash all the way down the field outside the numbers. So watch as he stops and sets his feet first and then throws the football. Brock's first read was to Ricky Pearsall. He's covered. So he makes his next read to Deebo Samuel. He's also covered. And just in the blink of an eye, Brock flips his hips, sets his feet, and gets this thing out to Jauan Jennings. Man, that was beautiful. At the goal line, when Jalen Moore blocks down to the inside, the defensive end is again left unblocked. But check out this hit Kyle Juszczyk comes over and lays down on him. Boom! And just like that, Isaac Guerrero has his second touchdown of the day. A few more plays to look at here. Purdy would get this ball out to Eric Saubert, but check out Darrell Taylor pulling Purdy down by the head and neck. A very dangerous play. This really could have hurt Brock Purdy. Jonathan Vilma tried to defend Taylor, saying this was somehow accidental, but I don't know if Jonathan Vilma is the best person to be defending him, if you know what I mean. So Brandon Allen would have to come in for a play, but then Brock Purdy would come back into the game with the crowd chanting his name. Facing 3rd down and 4, it's a very simple play. Jauan Jennings again makes a move to the outside. The defender has to honor it, and then again, Jennings comes back to the inside. And the ball is right on the money. The 49ers would cap off the drive. Now Isaac Guerrero would have to come out due to injury, so Patrick Taylor comes in and he scores a touchdown. Hopefully Guerrero is okay to go for Thursday night. His status is a little bit in question, but sounds like it's not going to be as serious an injury as they may thought. And there's your final score, 49ers 38, Chicago 13. The 49ers are back on track offensively, or so it would seem. Kyle Shanahan dug a little deeper into his playbook. He called some screen passes, which the 49ers had kind of gotten away from, and Brock Purdy looked really sharp in this game, and the defense played well too, sacking Caleb Williams a number of times. Yetur Gross-Matos had 3 sacks on the day, as a matter of fact. Special teams was okay. They tried a few squib-type kicks that did not fall inside the landing zone. I don't necessarily put that on Jake Moody, as a lot of NFL teams are trying this. It's all part of the teams adjusting to the new rules, and we're seeing similar results across the league. The kickers aren't really able to do that and get that ball inside the landing zone, so I would suspect the 49ers, along with the other teams in the NFL, will probably move away from trying to do that in the future. San Francisco has a short week, then they play the Rams on Thursday Night Football, hoping to avenge their loss earlier this season and stay in that NFC West race. 2 wins against conference opponents in the same week would go a long way towards helping that goal, and they will need some help down the stretch as well. All right, I want to thank all my new subscribers. You guys have been absolutely terrific. If you like what you see here, please subscribe. We do these videos every week. As always, I want to thank those of you who have gone the extra mile to help support this channel. Guys, your support is invaluable. It allows me to take the time to do these videos right, to give you the quality that you deserve. And of course, I want to give an extra special shout out to our Patreon supporters. Guys, you are an essential part of this team. I could not do these videos without you. Thank you so much for your support. You humble me and you honor me. All right, it's going to be the Rams at the 49ers on Thursday Night Football. It's San Francisco's second Thursday night game of the season, but this one is at Levi's. And if the 49ers can somehow find a way to beat the Los Angeles Rams, who appear to be red hot, at least on offense right now, they will stay in the NFC West race. The Rams have a little bit more of a cushion, but of course they want to win that game very badly as well. It's a division game, so I expect high drama on Thursday night. Although I don't know exactly what's going to happen during that game, but you know we are going to be here to break down that film, and I will see you guys then.